I've never been the type to believe in the supernatural. Ghost stories, urban legends, all that stuff. I always thought it was just people trying to scare themselves for fun. But something happened to me last semester that I still can't explain, and it's changed the way I look at the world. My name is Emily, and I go to a small college in the Midwest. The campus library is my favorite place, old, quiet, and always a little chilly, even in the summer. I'd spend hours there, tucked away in the back corners, surrounded by the smell of old paper and wood polish. It was the one place I could really focus, away from the noise of my dorm and the constant buzz of campus life. One afternoon, I was searching for a novel for my English class. I found it wedged between two oversized encyclopedias, its cover faded and spine cracked. I almost put it back, but something made me check it out. Maybe it was the way the title, The Silent Hour, seemed to shimmer in the dusty light, or maybe I just wanted to get out of there and back to my room. That night, I started reading. It wasn't long before I noticed the scribbles in the margins. At first, I thought they were just notes from a previous student, little observations about the plot, underlined passages, the usual stuff. But then the comments started to get oddly specific. On one page, next to a description of a character walking home in the rain, someone had written, "Don't forget your umbrella next time." It caught me off guard. I'd left my umbrella in the library earlier that day, and I hadn't told anyone. I tried to convince myself it was just a weird coincidence, but the more I read, the more unsettled I felt. The notes kept coming, and they got more personal. "You always sit by the window. You should call your mom back." I felt a chill run through me. I hadn't spoken to my mom in a week, and I'd been meaning to call her. I started to wonder if someone was playing a prank, but I couldn't figure out how they'd know these things. I even checked my phone, half expecting to find a message from someone confessing to the joke, but there was nothing. The next day, I tried to focus on my classes, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every time I glanced over my shoulder, I half expected to see someone following me. I started to notice little things, my textbooks slightly out of place, my pens moved from where I'd left them. I told myself I was just being paranoid. That evening, I decided to ask the librarian about the book. She was an older woman, always friendly, but when she scanned the barcode, she frowned. "This book hasn't been checked out in a long time," she said. "Are you sure you got it from here?" I nodded, but I could tell she didn't believe me. She handed the book back, her eyes lingering on the cover for a moment longer than necessary. I left the library feeling unsettled, the book heavy in my backpack. That night, I opened it again, half expecting to find more notes. There was a new message, written in the same neat handwriting. "Emily, you're being watched." I slammed the book shut and shoved it in my desk drawer. I tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I imagined someone standing over me, pen in hand, scribbling notes about my life. The next morning, I found a slip of paper tucked into my coat pocket. Page 214. I hadn't read that far yet. My hands were shaking as I flipped to the page. The note in the margin said, "Meet me in the library basement. Midnight." I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't go. I haven't been back to that library since. I tried to put it out of my mind, but I couldn't let it go. I started searching through my things, looking for any clue that might explain what was happening. That's when I found a second book, one I didn't remember borrowing, hidden at the bottom of my backpack. It was a diary. The cover was plain, the pages yellowed with age. My heart pounded as I opened it. The handwriting was the same as the notes in the novel, neat, careful, almost old-fashioned. The first few entries were normal enough, just a student writing about her classes, her friends, her life on campus. But as I read on, the entries grew darker. She wrote about feeling watched, about finding notes in her books, about seeing her own reflection in places it shouldn't be. She described the same sense of unease, the same fear that someone was always just out of sight. I flipped to the last entry. It was dated the next day. My name was written at the top. "Emily, I know you're reading this. I know you found the book. I know you're scared. I was too. But if you're reading this, it's already too late." I dropped the diary, my hands shaking. I tried to convince myself it was a coincidence, that someone was playing an elaborate prank. But then I noticed something else, a photograph tucked between the pages. It was a black and white picture of a girl standing in front of the library. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. Then I realized where I'd seen her before. She was the face I'd glimpsed reflected behind me in the library's glass doors, the face I'd seen in the corner of my eye when I thought I was alone. I did some research, desperate for answers. I spent hours online, digging through old campus records, yearbooks, anything I could find. Eventually, I found her name, She'd been a student here years ago. She'd gone missing. No one ever found out what happened to her. The more I read, the more I realized her story was almost identical to mine. The notes, the feeling of being watched, the diary. It was like I was retracing her steps, following a path she'd already walked. I tried to get rid of the books. I left them in the library's return bin, but the next morning, they were back in my backpack. I threw them in the trash, but they reappeared on my desk. No matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of them. The notes started appearing in other places, on my class handouts, on the whiteboards in my classrooms, even on the bathroom mirror. Always in the same handwriting, always with the same message. If you're reading this, it's already too late. I started to lose track of time. I'd find myself standing in the library, not remembering how I got there. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with the diary open on my chest, new entries written in my own handwriting, though I had no memory of writing them. I tried to tell my friends, but they just laughed it off. I tried to talk to the librarian again, but she just gave me that same strange look and told me to get some rest. Now, I don't know what's real anymore. I see the girl's face everywhere, in windows, in reflections, in my dreams. Sometimes I think I hear her voice whispering in my ear, telling me what to do. The last entry in the diary is dated tomorrow. It describes everything I'm about to do in perfect detail. It even describes me sitting here, writing this story, trying to warn someone, anyone, about what's happening. The final line says, "If you're reading this, it's already too late. I don't know what to do next. I'm scared. I don't know if I'm losing my mind, or if something much darker is happening. But if you ever find a book with notes in the margins, if you ever feel like you're being watched, don't ignore it. Don't try to find answers. Some stories are better left unread."